The last samurai, Takeshi, stood at the edge of the battlefield, his weary eyes scanning the carnage that stretched out before him. The stench of blood and death hung heavy in the air, mingling with the acrid smoke of burning buildings. He tightened his grip on his sword, the weight of his armor pressing down on his shoulders. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the battlefield as the day drew to a close. Takeshi could hear the distant clash of swords and the cries of the wounded, but it all seemed distant, as if he were in a dream. He had been fighting for what felt like an eternity, his body moving on instinct alone as he battled against wave after wave of enemies. He had lost count of how many had fallen by his hand, their faces blurring together in a haze of blood and sweat. But even as his muscles screamed for respite, Takeshi refused to yield. He was the last of his kind, a solitary figure amidst the chaos of war. He would fight until his dying breath, for honor, for duty, for everything he held dear. The mysterious encounter. When Takeshi finally collapsed onto the ground, his body battered and broken, he thought that this was the end. But as consciousness slipped away from him, he felt himself being lifted up by unseen hands, carried away from the battlefield and into the realm of dreams. When he finally awoke, Takeshi found himself lying beside a tranquil stream, the gentle sound of flowing water filling the air. He tried to sit up, but his body protested, every movement sending waves of pain shooting through him. And there, standing over him, was a figure shrouded in the mist of dawn. His name was Hiroshi, a master of Zen healing and the keeper of ancient wisdom. His face was lined with age, yet his eyes sparkled with a youthful vitality that belied his years. Without a word, Hiroshi knelt beside Takeshi and began to tend to his wounds with gentle hands. Takeshi watched in silent awe as Hiroshi worked, his movements precise and deliberate. It was as if he possessed a deep understanding of the body's inner workings, as if he could see into Takeshi's very soul. "Who are you?" Takeshi finally managed to croak, his voice hoarse from the dust of battle. "I am but a humble servant of the way," Hiroshi replied, his voice soft yet commanding. "And you, my friend, are in need of healing. The journey begins." In the days that followed, Takeshi found himself drawn to the stream, its clear waters reflecting the ever-changing sky above. Under Hiroshi's guidance, he began to learn the ways of Zen, meditating beside the stream and finding solace in its gentle embrace. But the journey towards inner peace was not an easy one. Takeshi's mind was filled with the ghosts of his past, memories of battles fought and lives lost. He struggled to quiet the turmoil within him, to find the stillness that Hiroshi spoke of. Yet with each passing day, Takeshi felt himself growing stronger, both in body and in spirit. He began to see the world with new eyes, to appreciate the beauty of nature and the interconnectedness of all things. And as he delved deeper into the teachings of Zen, he began to glimpse the true meaning of honor and sacrifice, confronting the demons. But the path towards enlightenment was not without its challenges. Takeshi was forced to confront his inner demons, to face the darkness that lurked within his own heart. He relived the horrors of past battles, the faces of those he had slain haunting him in his dreams. Yet with Hiroshi's guidance, Takeshi learned to confront his fears, to embrace the shadows that dwelled within him. He came to understand that true strength lay not in the sword, but in the courage to face one's own weaknesses. And so Takeshi journeyed onwards, his resolve unshakable, his spirit undaunted. He knew that the path towards enlightenment was long and arduous, but he was determined to walk it nonetheless. The transformation. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Takeshi felt himself undergoing a profound transformation. He no longer saw himself as just a warrior, but as a guardian of peace, a beacon of hope in a world consumed by chaos. He embraced the teachings of Zen with newfound zeal, spreading the wisdom he had gained to all who would listen. He traveled from village to village, offering aid to those in need, his heart overflowing with compassion. And wherever he went, Takeshi carried with him the memory of Hiroshi, the wise old monk who had shown him the true meaning of strength and resilience. For in the midst of adversity, Takeshi had found not only healing, but also redemption. The legacy lives on, and so the tale of the water and Zen healing of the last samurai came to an end. But the lessons it imparted would endure for generations to come. For in the transformative power of water and the healing wisdom of Zen, there lies the key to unlocking the true potential of the human spirit. As Takeshi stood beside the stream, gazing out towards the horizon, he knew that his journey was far from over. But armed with the teachings of Zen and the memories of his mentor, he faced the future with courage and determination. And though the world may be filled with suffering and strife, Takeshi knew that as long as there were those willing to embrace the way, there would always be hope. Reflections of the past. As Takeshi sat beside the tranquil stream, the memories of his journey flooded his mind like a rushing river. He traced the path he had walked, from the blood-soaked battlefield to the serene sanctuary of Zen enlightenment. Each step had been a trial, a test of his strength and resolve, but also a testament to the power of redemption. He closed his eyes and let the gentle sound of flowing water wash over him, transporting him back to the moment when it all began, the fateful day when he had stood on the edge of the battlefield, the last of his kind. The weight of his armor had felt like a burden too heavy to bear, but in that moment of despair, he had found the courage to fight on. The memories came flooding back, the clash of swords, the cries of the wounded, the overwhelming sense of futility that threatened to consume him. But amidst the chaos, there had been a glimmer of hope, a guiding light in the darkness. It was Hiroshi who had saved him, who had lifted him from the brink of death and shown him a new path. Takeshi could still remember the first time he had met the wise old monk, his weathered face illuminated by the soft light of dawn. In that moment, he had known that his life would never be the same again. With Hiroshi's guidance, Takeshi had embarked on a journey of self-discovery, confronting his inner demons and learning to embrace the teachings of Zen. It had been a long and arduous road, filled with setbacks and challenges, but with each obstacle overcome, Takeshi had grown stronger. He thought back to the lessons he had learned, the importance of compassion, the value of inner peace, the true meaning of honor, and he realized that while his journey may have begun on the battlefield, it had led him to a place of healing and enlightenment, the bonds of brotherhood. As Takeshi sat in quiet contemplation, he felt a presence beside him, a familiar presence that stirred something deep within his soul. He opened his eyes to see a figure standing at the edge of the stream, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. It was Akio, Takeshi's closest friend and comrade in arms. They had fought side by side on the battlefield, sharing triumphs and tragedies alike. But in the aftermath of the war, their paths had diverged, each seeking solace in their own way. Akio knelt beside Takeshi, his expression grave yet determined. "I heard of your journey," he said quietly. "I heard of the trials you faced, the battles you fought, and I knew that I had to find you to see for myself the man you have become." Takeshi felt a surge of emotion welling up inside him, a mixture of gratitude, humility, and something else, something he couldn't quite name. He reached out and clasped Akio's hand, feeling the weight of their shared history between them. "We may have walked different paths," Takeshi said, his voice thick with emotion, "but our bond remains unbroken. We are brothers in arms, bound by honor and duty, and nothing can ever change that." And as they sat beside the stream, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Takeshi knew that no matter what the future held, he would face it with courage and conviction, secure in the knowledge that he was not alone. The call to arms, but even as Takeshi found solace in the company of his friend, he knew that his journey was far from over. There were still battles to be fought, injustices to be righted, and a world in need of healing. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle overhead, Takeshi felt a sense of purpose stirring within him, a calling to once again take up arms in defense of those who could not defend themselves. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with peril, but he also knew that he could not turn away from the path he had chosen. With a sense of determination burning in his heart, Takeshi rose to his feet, his spirit ablaze with the fire of righteousness. He turned to Akio, his eyes alight with determination. "I cannot stay here," he said, his voice resolute. "There is still much work to be done, many lives to be saved. Will you stand with me, brother, in the face of adversity?" Akio met Takeshi's gaze with a nod of understanding, his own resolve shining bright. "I will stand with you," he said, his voice steady. "For as long as there is breath in my body, I will fight by your side." And so, with the bonds of brotherhood strengthening their resolve, Takeshi and Akio set out into the night, their swords at the ready and their hearts filled with purpose, for they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, as warriors of honor and champions of justice. The legacy endures. As Takeshi and Akio disappeared into the darkness, their silhouettes fading into the night, the stream continued to flow, its waters reflecting the eternal dance of stars above. And though the world may be filled with turmoil and strife, there remained a glimmer of hope, a beacon of light in the depths of darkness. For as long as there were those willing to fight for what was right, to uphold the values of honor and compassion, the legacy of the last samurai would endure. And though Takeshi's journey had come to an end, his spirit lived on in the hearts of those he had touched, inspiring future generations to stand tall in the face of adversity. And so, as the sun rose on a new day, the world awakened to the promise of a brighter tomorrow, a tomorrow forged in the fires of courage, tempered by the wisdom of the ages, and bound together by the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood.